Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Allie.
I'm trying really hard to make my voice like upbeat, but the fact is I'm very hungover right now.
Yes, Sarah celebrated a soon-to-be very big birthday.
I did.
This weekend.
I'm turning 21, everybody.
First lingo drink, party hard.
No, I'm turning 30. And actually, the hangover that I have right now is not as bad as
you're turning 30.
It's actually not. I thought it was going to feel like I was turning 30, and I'm okay. I'm going to eat my words probably the next time I drink.
Yeah. Since you actually turn 30, that's it. You don't.
I also do feel bad because I feel like anytime I'm hungover and we're recording, I like announce that I'm hungover. But now that I've announced it every time, I'm worried people think it's a pattern or something like that. Or they're like, she's always hungover. Well, I'm a little hungover, but I've had a really lovely, relaxing day. And Allie, you went to the West Ham game, right?
I did. I went to. It actually wasn't that bad of a trip for me because it was away to Everton, so it was only about an hour. I went with my parents.
Oh, that's cute.
Which is quite nice. I went with my mum and my dad, which was lovely. And then I felt like a bit of a big shot because I go to every game, people sort of like know me. So like when the general manager comes over and is like, oh, how's your trip? Like, what do you think of the result and stuff like that? And mum's like, how do you know the general manager of the women's team? And like the parents of players coming over being like, oh, you've made it, welcome, like that. And mum was
God, I actually didn't know you were such a star of the stadium. Like I knew that you knew people, but that's pretty big time, Allie.
It's because I'm known for being the person that travels like 400 miles round trip to go see my team.
Just in the game. Yeah. Which is fair. Like if you're traveling 400 miles round trip in the day, you should be known for that.
I take the coach down, train it back. It's one of those things that I'm like, I've managed to get so much crafting done.
That's true. You were a big crafter. Yeah. Everybody who listens to the WOSO show is getting a crocheted gift from Allie this year. Yeah. This is hot off the press.
Absolutely. It's a Patreon
She thinks
bonus.
I'm being sarcastic, but I'm actually going to hold you to that.
No, it's a Patreon bonus. If you subscribe to a certain tier, one of the perks is that you will get a crocheted something.
I actually love that. So everybody subscribe to Patreon and you will get a crocheted Christmas gift from Allie. It is a WOSO special edition crocheted gift from Allie. Yeah. So, I mean, what better incentive could they have?
Crochet and West Ham. That's what I can bring you. The results this weekend wasn't anything setting the world on fire, to be honest.
No, it wasn't. We had a little back and forth about like what game should we cover.
Yeah, and normally it's because of how like great games, but I think they're ready for their Christmas break at the moment. We do actually have a full list now of the results, and they pretty much went the way you'd think they were going to go.
Mm-hmm. With the exception of one.
The exception of one, which is the one we're going to talk about.
Oh, this is okay. So I was actually talking about the Chelsea game, but that's really interesting. The Chelsea game, though, I guess we'll say we didn't really think that was necessarily worth talking about, at least in my opinion. Like, no. The game was simply that Chelsea couldn't put one away and gave one up. But like,
there's not enough meat on the bones.
Yeah, there's not enough meat. There's not enough meat there. So the game we want to talk about is Manchester United versus Brighton, which I'm really excited about because we haven't really gotten to talk about Brighton at all this year.
Nope.
We've talked a little bit about United, but it's been a while. And I want to start. I'm curious. This is the game that didn't go how you thought it would. I actually thought United would win this game.
See, I wasn't sure because United had a bit of a dip. They actually lost to Leicester in the Conti Cup. So I thought it was going to basically come down to, managing styles. I know that Man United fans haven't been happy with how Skinner's been formatting the team and stuff like that. So I thought it was either going to be 0-0 or Brighton might squeak, a cheeky goal. And, because we've seen it before. We saw it, Tottenham did against Man United, Reading did it against Man United. They've not had the greatest luck.
Yeah.
When it comes with certain teams. So I thought Brighton would steal it, essentially. However, that's not what happened. It was 2-0 to Man United, and quite deservingly 2-0 to Man United, to be honest. I'm surprised it wasn't more.
Yeah, very, very deservingly. I mean, based on the number of chances they had, this scoreline actually doesn't reflect what happened in the game. If anything, United should be happy that they got out with a win, but really, really looking at why it's only a 2-0 win, because that points to a lot of problems with the amount of opportunities that they had. The fact that they only put 2 away, I mean, a win is a win, but it's a little bad. I really just thought that the way these two aligned, the way they matched up against each other, especially tactically, it just seemed to me that United's midfield would dominate Brighton. And this is the first time they've played each other in this season. So we really didn't know, but it just kind of seemed to me when you align the midfield, that the midfield of United is frankly like so strong and underachieving based on how strong they are, which we'll come on to. But to me, I looked at this game and I was like, I think United's going to take it because of how the midfield's matched up. But I mean, 2-1 United. Let's start. I want to start on Brighton, because Brighton has had, first of all, the most surprising start to the season of the two of them, in my opinion. Brighton was 4th place going into this game, 15 points. United sat behind them with 12. So Brighton sitting in 4th after a pretty mediocre season last year. And then this was really not a stellar performance against United. What happened?
Yeah, do you know what? It was very much like they started off quite well, and you could see very much that the way Hope Powell had set them up was going to be, this was going to be a defensive game. Like you're talking about in the midfield, it was very much like 5 behind the ball in the formation, and it was very defensive, and they were very compact, and again trying to change, because we all know that Man United tend to play on the wing. They've got 2 very good wingers and they ping balls in, and it was very compact to stop those balls getting anywhere. And it started off well, but then it just became careless. Like before the first goal, like their passes weren't weighted properly. It felt like they were suddenly under pressure and they weren't playing the way we'd seen them play all season, because all season they've been very defensive, but they've been very methodical, and it's been very, very much goalkeeper to defender, defender to midfielder, midfielder to forward, and it's worked for them. It's worked for them well. Here it just felt like erratic, and it was very like midfielders were passing to other midfielders that weren't ready for it, and then it slipped past them, and United could then, like you said, their midfield is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Could pick up things, which was just not what Brighton have been known for this season. And then when they conceded the first goal, it seemed that they were going in for the foul, that they were literally like get slightly tapped, and that they would do the acrobatics to try and get free kicks and stuff like that, because again it just felt erratic and frantic and desperate almost.
Do you think that them going in for the foul, so I think I have a couple things. Do you think that them going in for the foul was like a response to the chaoticness of the game, and they were like, well, we can just slow the pace down. If we slow the pace down, we can gain control of the game, and that was a way that they were intentionally doing that?
I think so. I think that was like the game plan, because you got to remember they conceded in like extra time of the first half. So it wasn't like they could have an immediate reaction to the goal, because literally they scored the goal and then I think they got like one kick and the whistle went. So it was very much, you felt like Hope Powell had brought them in and gone, right, we need to fix this and get it back to the controlled play we're used to. But it just didn't feel like, it felt like in one ear, out the other, and they didn't do that. And it was very, again, just erratic and frantic and not the controlled Brighton we've seen this season.
Yeah, I will say about Brighton in the past couple of games, like this is a team that hasn't had control of the game, and they've been a little bit off their game. They lost to Reading. Now they've got a second loss to United, and it seems like something needs to, they need to go back and rework what is missing. And I frankly think a big piece of that is holding more possession. Like you look at their stats throughout their games, and they don't hold more than like a low 40% of possession usually. And yes, you can win games and you can even win championships with that style of play if that's how you're going to choose. But if that's what they're doing, they need to lean into that more. And otherwise, I think that they need to learn how to gain a little bit more control and possession of the game, because if they're able to dictate the tempo, they actually have the capability of winning against any team in this league.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have to say, though, shout out to Megan Walsh, the Brighton goalkeeper, because if it hadn't been for her, it could have been a lot more.
Oh, yeah. I love when we just see standout goalkeeping performances that keep their teams in games. And I feel like we're seeing it more and more and more. Not that they didn't happen, but it just feels like every weekend there's a different goalkeeping performance that we're like, wow, that was standout.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know we weren't talking about it, but again, shout out to Grace Mahoney from Reading, who phenomenal saves that she made to keep Reading in it, because she had to defend for 87 minutes when they'd gone up. And we're
Oh my God.
and we are just because anybody doesn't know, Reading got the goal in the first 3 minutes and then had to defend. And we are seeing some more like standout goalkeeping performances, and the standard is just getting higher and higher and higher. But I have to say, because we'll get on to Man United, but they had 14 shots on target. The fact it was only 2-0 is a testament to Megan Walsh.
So on to United. I mean, let's kind of like breeze past Skinner for a moment and just talk about United and the players and who's on the field and what they did well. For me, I look at this lineup and my first thought usually when I'm looking at who is starting for United is Hayley Ladd there? Because I have been so perplexed this season about why she has not been a consistent starter. Because for me, good things happen when Hayley Ladd is on the field. That's evidenced in this game. And the fact that, I know we said we're not going to talk about Skinner, but like the fact that Skinner is kind of keeping her as a sometimes starter, sometimes substitute. I mean, she is consistency. And that's what this team needs right now. So to not have her out there every day is a really big problem for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a huge Hayley Ladd fan, and I do think that she hasn't been given a fair shot at Man United. I don't know if it's because of the position that she plays, that they've had other players that have done better and have fulfilled that role better. But I don't think there is anybody better. I just think there were fan favourites or names that they played there.
I do want to talk quickly about Alessia Russo. So she has very quickly taken over the starting 9 from Ella Toone and bumped Ella Toone into more of like a false 9. Alessia Russo seems to be kind of like the up-and-comer right now in the WSL, got her call-in for the Lionesses. So she really is an up-and-coming talent, according to many coaches in like the league and obviously internationally. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I do. I think it was really nice to just quickly talk about her England performance, to see her get that confidence and to get her call up and her first cap and things like that. And I think she has been an underrated talent for a while. I'd be interested to see what Man United can do with her, because I think they've had some youngsters before and they've thrived. You look at Ella Toone, who was at Man City before, barely played, like got a couple of cup games, and then she comes to United and has absolutely blossomed. And I think Russo could do the same thing. It's just, will they keep her at that number 9, or is it going to suddenly be like, wait a minute, no, well, we bought Martha Thomas for this, and are we going to put Martha back in and play you somewhere else? Skinner likes to play around with his lineups like that. And just because you're playing well doesn't mean you're guaranteed a spot. If he doesn't want to play you, you will not play. So I'm hoping she stays on his right side and she'll keep getting the game time, because the more game time she gets, the more we're going to see her grow and develop and become the super striker that we know she can be. But at the same time, if she falls foul of Skinner, she's not going to get game time.
It is a precarious team to be in. I'm curious. I want to talk about what they've done right. So I'm curious what you think the difference was between last game, where you mentioned they lost to Leicester City in penalties, compared to this game where, you know, they take on Brighton sitting at the number 4 spot, go ahead 2-0. They're able to seal the deal. What is the difference here? To me, I look at both and I don't really know, because like you said, this team is so week to week that we don't know who's going to be starting. So we don't know how it's going to unfold. To me, I kind of think that you hit the nail on the head of like, this might be why that team is so inconsistent, is because there is no consistency within the team. You know, you look and they played a 4-4-2 against Leicester City. Anybody who knows professional soccer knows you don't come out in a 4-4-2. I know there's like, oh, there's a stigma against the 4-4-2 or something like
for
that.
A reason.
Rightfully so, because
reason.
Exactly. Rightfully so, because it is not a complex enough formation for a professional game. And they came out in a 4-4-2 against Leicester City. And I was going to go back to that and say, you know, oh, well, it's the formation. But this line of inconsistency is not just in the formation. It is in the players. It is in who's starting. It's in everything. I think what worked this game was, frankly, that the players who were on the field, like specifically the midfield. So they were in a 4-5-1. With Risa, Staniforth, Toone, Zellum, and Ladd in the midfield. And I do think that it was a pure connection that these players have played together, the majority of them, for a long time now. And they were able to just step on the field and connect with each other. And the inconsistency didn't have to play so much of a role because they had already built that foundation. I feel like it seems like we've talked negatively a lot about United right now, but I actually think this is all positives wrapped in like what can change. Well, let's go into around the world, over to France. Division 1 Arkema is seeing Paris FC continue to fall, and the race for the third Champions League spot has truly begun. Paris FC fell to Lyon on Sunday 2-1. This match was absolutely wild. It featured 3 goals in 7 minutes as Lyon put 2 away in the 38th and 39th minute, and then Paris FC scored in the 46th minute to go into half, having clawed a goal back. Unfortunately, though, Sophie Vaesi was awarded a red card in the 64th minute, and Paris FC fell to Lyon despite holding the majority of possession that game.
Continuing in Europe with the Champions League, Chelsea and Juventus were tied 0-0, a game that featured the highlight of the week, Sam Kerr hip-checking a field invader and going viral in multiple countries.
Woo-woo!
She also got a yellow for that.
She also got an undeserved yellow for
She
that.
got a yellow for that.
I know this is around the world, but we just have to spend a moment on that. As if I could be any more in love with Sam Kerr. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. An undeserved yellow. Are we agreed? It's undeserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, what are you supposed to do with a pitch invader? Like...
And the security guards weren't doing anything. They were just like, oh, he's calmly walking, so we'll let him walk off the field. Oh, get him off the field.
Yeah, the security guards didn't do anything. And all he was trying to do was get a picture with Magda Edgerson. It's like, in the middle of the pitch. In the middle of the game.
She handled herself so well, too. And Sam Kerr was just like, get off.
So, yeah, we all fell in love with Sam Kerr a little bit. That one. Back.
I did more.
Back on Jack. With just one match left in the group stage, Group A is looking the tightest of all. Chelsea sits in first with 11 points, whilst Wolfsburg and Juventus are tied behind with 8 points. The next match will decide everything for all 3 teams. Chelsea will face Wolfsburg and Juventus will face Svente FCCF.
Over to the Frauen Bundesliga. Do you want to know how tight the table is in the Frauen Bundesliga?
Tell me how tight.
4 out of 6 matches on Sunday ended in a tie. The race continues as the top 5 teams are separated by only 5 points.
So we're going back to our favourite league in Mexico. We're in the semi-final already. The semi-finals are structured like the Champions League knockout stages with 2 legs and the teams advancing on aggregate score. In leg 1 of the semi-finals, Atlas took down Monterrey 1-0 and America took down Tigres 2-1. The next games are being played on Monday night, which is after we record our episode, so we will have to keep you updated on Twitter with the results.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
We are going to talk movement. Which players are on the move? Who do we think is on the move? We're not going to do who's on the move. We're going deep into who has been rumored to be potentially moving on. And we're going to talk through those, and then we're going to talk NWSL expansion draft, which is happening very shortly.
Yep, absolutely. And you're going to help this Brit try and work it out.
That's what I'm here for. But first, we're talking movement. And we can't talk movement without talking about the video that surfaced of one Christy Mewis in Tottenham gear practicing with the Tottenham squad.
A lot of Tottenham fans were very excited by that. Obviously, she's got a key reason to be moving over to London. She is not protected for the dash, which I thought was quite odd.
It's really interesting. Well, that's what makes me think that this will probably happen, because the way that reads to me is she's had conversations with the dash and has explicitly said, you know, like this is my intention. So they've been like, why are we going to waste a protected player on her? If Angel City picks her up in the draft, she'll still move to the UK. So why are we going to waste a protected player when we only have 9 spots? Why are we going to waste that on her? So, I mean, we've talked about this before, I think on the podcast, but definitely in our group chat, about Kristie Mewis would be a great fit for Tottenham. Like, we know she's got personal motivations, but let's talk soccer-wise. You know, like, it's got to be a good move for her career, too. She would be a fantastic fit for Tottenham, and Tottenham would be a fantastic fit for her. Like, she would help the team grow, and I think she would be able to grow as a player and as a leader in the core of that midfield. She's at the Dash right now where it's Rachel Daly's team. Like, Daly's the captain and she's the leader on the field. And if not, then it's Jane Campbell in goal. And this is actually an opportunity, I think, for Kristie Mewis. I know Tottenham has great leadership, but I think it's an opportunity for her to step into a midfield and become that force.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I do think she's going to be able to do it on a cold night in Boreham Wood, unlike Alex Morgan.
You know what? That was her first game. Like, those are her first games back from being pregnant. You Brits are just like so upset that she gave you her like worst months of soccer when her stomach had just fallen apart.
No, we have nothing against that. We don't like the fact that she did the tea sipping celebration when she scored against us in the semi-final.
Well, that I fully support.
We have long memories. But no, I do think Mewis will be a cracking signing for Tottenham. It's going to make them even scarier to... Oh, you can shut up. For those that can't see what she's doing the Alex Morgan tea celebration just to wind this Brit up. And I'm just like... Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I do think where they've lost Kit Graham due to doing an ACL, Tottenham. So I do think they are looking for that creative player that can play midfield, can play up front, that is going to give them goals, which they've sadly lost for the foreseeable with Kit being out. And I think Mewis is a cracking signing, and I do think they've got the nous to pull it off now.
I think that's a great point. I'm curious what this will do to her international career. You know, sometimes going overseas, like, for example, Sam Mewis can just boost you and it can make you a better player in so many regards. And also, I think sometimes you can get lost in the shuffle, like Ebony Salmon, who I think was in line for a call-up and then kind of got lost in the shuffle of everything when she came overseas to the U.S. So it can go either way. I think that this would be a really positive thing, deeply sad as I would be to see Kristie Mewis go. I would be actually very upset about it, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
But moving on to my favourite player of all time.
Oh, come on. You're just trying to wind me up in return.
But the rumour is Alex Morgan is going to San Diego.
This seems like it's more than a rumour. Like, this trade seems to be basically in progress, and we're just waiting for the trade window to reopen for it to be announced. Like, this seems like it's happening. It seems like Alex Morgan has given a lot of years to Orlando, and Orlando has tried so hard to make the like power forward couple of like Alex Morgan and Marta work. And on paper, that sounds unstoppable. And in execution, it simply has not worked year over year over year. And I think that maybe both sides are just ready to like start anew.
Orlando need to really start again, which is what they seem to be doing by already got Krieger and Harris over in Gotham. Morgan on her way out. Marta's been protected, I believe. So it's going to become her team again, and hopefully that will build them up. I think San Diego's a great fit. It's a brand new team, but it's where her family are LA based, I believe. So it's not that far.
Yes.
My US geography's not great, but I know it's not that far.
No, you're totally right. And I mean, we all thought she was going to Angel City for that reason, right? Because her family's based in LA. San Diego's a great move. I actually think it's almost a better move than LA. San Diego, need I remind you, has the one and only Casey Stoney as a head coach. And then Jill Ellis is at the helm as like a GM. I don't know her official title, but she's definitely working within, soccer operations in some regard. I mean, Alex Morgan being coached by Casey Stoney under her tutelage and her formation, I mean, that is a golden opportunity that she would be ridiculous to not jump on.
The only thing that has surprised me really is I think he's now retired, but her other half was playing in Florida. Then he went to LA and then he went back to Florida again. But I think he's now retired, so therefore he can look after baby while she goes back to go back with her family.
We love a stay-at-home dad. That's
exactly.
Fantastic.
So, but I think you're right. I think San Diego, out of the two between Angel City and San Diego Wave, I think that was definitely the best shot for Morgan.
Moving on, we are talking about Orlando. Let's talk quickly about Marta. It's not rumored, but there's always little tweets floating about how old she is. Will she finish her career in the NWSL? Will we see her somewhere else? We know her partner plays for Orlando as well, however, is on the unprotected list. Marta, do you think she's going to finish out her career in Orlando?
You know, I don't. I genuinely don't.
Oh.
I genuinely don't. I think Marta is a fighter and she's going to want to win things. And unless Orlando can get their backsides in gear, then she's not going to want to stay on a team that's going to consistently finish in the bottom half of the table. Is she good enough to get into a team? I could see her maybe Gotham. I could see her maybe fitting into a squad like that is, you know, being that voice of experience and helping their youngsters up front, because we've already got Harris doing that for the back line. So unless Orlando are going out to impress, I don't see her ending her career there. But then again, I don't see her career ending very soon either.
That's interesting. I actually think I see her career ending relatively soon. I see her ending in Orlando. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, I try to fit her into different teams in the NWSL, and it doesn't quite work tactically. I don't see her going overseas unless her partner did too. But this is something that people have been starting to talk about with as she's getting older, as Orlando is turning over players. This might be something that surfaces in the next couple of years, if you will, that we might actually have to address, that she might actually have to address. We'll stay in Orlando and talk about a player that just came from Orlando to North Carolina, Carson Pickett. Carson Pickett has played for North Carolina the past year. She had a great season with the Courage, an outstanding season with the Courage, and she is rumored to be going to your friendly team, West Ham United. What do you think?
So it's one of those things that rumors is because she was there to see her girlfriend, Mackenzie Arnold, who's our goalkeeper, and she was in full West Ham training gear and has been training with our girl for her visit. Now, it could just be she's keeping up her fitness and just training with our team, but why would you be in full West Ham training gear if that's all you were doing?
Look, I'm a fan and I want the training kit too, but I don't think she would do that just to be a fan.
Exactly. And so it's like, for example, we've had a player train with us that we're not interested in, which is Samantha Johnson. She's come over again just to keep her fitness up and stuff like that, but she's not in full West Ham gear. You see the difference.
So how do you think Carson Pickett would fit in with this team? How do you think, would she aid West Ham? How would she do? And how would West Ham do with her in the team?
Ooh, that is a good question. Carson is one of my favourite players. She's a defender and we can always strengthen our defence. I think it would be good because we've got a couple of young defenders there at the moment, so it'd be nice to have a more solid, not calling her old, but having a more solid, experienced defender in our back, because we like to play a back five. So if we can get her in our back line of the three and then we've got our two wings on the side, I think she would be great. She has one of my favourite moments of all time, which is when she got done for a handball and she literally like waved her like hand at me going, I don't have one. Like, how can I handball?
How can I have a handball? I don't have an arm.
I do believe she has just signed with the Courage, so if she does come to us, it'll be an expensive player for us.
But definitely worth it, and also would be a good trade for North Carolina, to be honest.
Absolutely. So I'm excited by that rumour and I'm hoping it's very true.
Well, finally, we're talking about NWSL expansion draft.
We are, and I have a question because the uneducated Brit that I am. So I was looking at the different lists and seeing who's been kept and who hasn't and things like that. And there was a name that struck out to me, was that Abby Wambach's playing rights are up for grabs. like she retired years ago.
Yeah, it's very weird that these teams still have rights. Like Lori Lindsay is on there. These teams still have rights to players whose, I guess, contracts just simply haven't expired, even though they have retired from the game. It's very odd. And honestly, like all of last year, I think this kind of speaks to the negative side of the expansion draft last year was, for example, when Tobin Heath and Kristen Press got drafted to Racing Louisville and apparently had no knowledge that this was going to happen, and everybody was kind of like, we have to put in some measures of like protecting players' rights and protecting players with where they want to go. And it works differently over here than it does over there. There's many more player rights over there in terms of deciding which team you want to play on. But the fact that Abby Wambach's player rights are still held is just kind of hilarious and speaks to like just how the organizations really own them.
And also, okay, we will get into the draft thing just because, again, my brain isn't making it work. Okay, so for example, we're looking at Orlando. They've got Claire Emsley's playing rights, but Claire left them. She's like fully signed for Everton now. She gone bye-bye. Why do they still have her playing rights?
Yeah, I actually don't know. That's something that I'll have to look into. So what a great segue again, Allie. We're going to do a whole expansion draft preview special on Patreon. It'll be about 30 minutes long. We'll be previewing the entire draft. We'll talk through, obviously, rules, how the drafts are going to go down, and then we're going to get into the protected players list, talk through anything that we think will go down, and just generally dive deep into the draft. So really quickly, I think that everybody kind of has a handle on this because this is the second expansion draft that we've had in 2 years. We've already been talking about protected players lists. Maybe we should have put this at the top because we've been talking about protected players lists, but we're going to talk about it now. So the expansion draft is happening this Thursday, December 16th. How it works is this expansion draft specifically is for the 2 new teams that will be entering the league next year, LA and San Diego. Every team will select 9 players, has selected 9 players that are quote unquote protected. And then there are a few teams who have made trades with both incoming San Diego and Los Angeles. So if they made a trade with both teams for roster protection, they have full roster protection, which means they're not participating in the draft. So Kansas City, Gotham FC, and North Carolina will not be participating in this draft, with a little asterisk there. I'm going to say the asterisk here is that they're probably going to be involved in some trades also. Like, while Angel City and San Diego cannot draft directly from their unprotected list, they will probably be involved in some kinds of trade. I would be very surprised if those teams were completely inactive during that time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, just you still want to play around with your squad and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. It's just going through who they've protected. There's no real surprises apart from Portland, I can say, of people that they've protected.
I would agree. I think that there were some surprises for me in the Houston Dash. Specifically, obviously, the first one that stood out was Christy Mewis, but then you look at Megan Oyster has been really key to their defense, and they've left her unprotected. Sophie Schmidt is a standout Canadian international that they've left unprotected. Brianna Visali has been, again, core to their back line.
That got me, because I love Brie.
That really got me, yeah. And then along with that, they're just leaving their whole back line unprotected, it seems. Alyssa Chapman, again, standout Canadian international, left unprotected. So if anything did surprise me, I think maybe Houston's did the most. However, I do think that they protected some of their most integral, Rachel Daly, Jane Campbell, Nichelle Prince, Shea Groom, Haley Hansen. But some of the others that we just listed did surprise me. The other big standout to me is in Racing Louisville and their unprotected players list. So we know that Racing Louisville just recently hired a new head coach. So with that, we may see a huge overhaul of their lineup. And based on their unprotected players list, that's probably what we're going to see. Specifically, I'm going to call out Yuki Nagasato and Savannah McCaskill. Savannah McCaskill and Yuki Nagasato are both starters in this league on almost any team that they go to. So for them to not be picked up by either Angel City or San Diego would be pretty surprising to me.
With Racing Louisville, there's so many international ones that have been protected. Like 4-5 out of their 4 protected spots are international players is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at this protected players list, it's very clear what they're trying to do. They've got their core. This specifically is them saying this is our core. We got those 4 internationals. We're going to build around Emily Fox, Amina Ekic, Cece Kaiser, and we're going to go from there. That's our youth and our veteran, and that's where we're building from. Finally, I will say on Washington Spirit, I mean, Washington is so stacked, really, that they can't protect all of their players, so some of them are going to have to be left unprotected. Tori Huster was key to Washington winning. Like, when you talk about benches being deep, winning championships, Tori Huster is that. And I would be shocked if somebody didn't jump in and swoop her up, because if I was San Diego or Angel City, I absolutely would.
Yeah, no. Again, though, we were talking about it. The powerhouse that is Andy Sullivan's also unprotected with Washington. But again, I think that one is definitely a, come on, there's you.
So much to talk about in the expansion draft. We're doing the special where we'll dive even deeper into what we just dove into. Tune in. And don't forget, if you subscribe to Patreon, Allie will crochet something for you personally for the holidays. So don't forget that.
You got to hit a certain tier. It's a certain tier reward, and I will crochet something for you.
Well, speaking of the Patreon, we have our new segment which dropped yesterday. We're going to continue to promote it because it's fantastic. Every week, Tuesday, News in 10 on our Patreon. And also, Allie, this is our last episode of 2021. We will return Wednesday, January 12th to cover the first weekend back of the WSL in 2022. And we will have so much to talk about, including, I guess, all of the drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a bumper episode, but I'm sure we're going to fling some Patreon content out there and stuff like that, as well as taking a well-earned rest for Christmas. Thank you guys for all of your support through 2021. It has been absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for being so welcoming to me, the newbie. We will see you in 2022. Stay safe, stay happy. And that is all from the Women's Soccer Show of 2021.
Ooh, I've been Sarah.
And I've been Ali.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.